high-quality growth options in the Americas to underpin our next phase of growth and value creation. At our Hermosa project in Arizona, the feasibility study for the Taylor zinc-lead silver deposit remains on track to support a final investment decision in mid-calendar year 2023. While our milestones at Clark included completing the selection phase pre-feasibility study and entering our first MOU with an end user to establish a framework for supplying battery-grade manganese into the North American market. And what we are seeing after the Inflation Reduction Act in the US, there is a strong push to basically develop EVs in North America and get security over the supply chain. The other thing is, not only is zinc a critical mineral on the US list, there's only 4 of them, the other one is manganese. And you're actually seeing a number of car manufacturers and people in between around batteries talking very strongly about how they displace, if you like, some of the cobalt and the nickel with manganese. So if you think about an NCM 622 battery, you're probably looking at 70% manganese content. Some of the batteries that people are talking about, they're talking more about 60% manganese. That world is not settled yet. What they're exactly looking for has still got some work to be done. So what we're looking to do is help build that understanding, because we are the only manganese deposit/project in the US. So we're working with a number of people. We've got one MOU already signed about doing, if you like, a pilot plant, getting access to a bulk sample to actually share some of those results, and then look at the way you move that to a demo plan, and then you actually scale it up. So it's never going to quite match the actual development sequence that you'll see at Taylor. It will be independent, and the size of Clark is open for interpretation at the moment. So when I say that, probably 18 months ago, customers were talking about 10,000 tonnes is in the market. All of a sudden, we've got individual customers talking about 60,000 tonnes. So there's a lot of scope of how this develops. So we're going to be nimble and keep quick, but we've got to have an eye on the future to make sure that any permitting we're putting in around the federal process considers Clark in its completeness. When you think about manganese in batteries, it's probably at best somewhere between 3 to 6% of total demand. We could actually see a case where, it ends up becoming a substantial portion of battery manganese will actually sort of go into that space. To sort of put some numbers around that to give you a sense, we could probably see by calendar year 30 that you could see as much as 30% of demand for manganese going towards that battery technology. So that's quite a significant shift. So when we talk about the market, we had a view 12 months ago. That view of the market has dramatically changed upwards. I don't feel it's going backwards. I feel it's going the other way. But it's a difficult one because at the moment, really, the only person who produces the kind of material we're talking about, i.e. the high purity manganese sulfate monohydrate, is really coming out of China. This is going to be about domestic supply. This is going to be about scarcity of product. This is going to be about security of supply. And the reality is the portion of manganese in the battery is going to still be still going to be really small. It's going to be more about how can we respond quickly to the market, and what does that pricing look like around some scarcity pricing. I think in terms of assistance around Clark, there is a large pool of money that's been allocated to the Department of Defence and Department of Energy. And the way they're sort of doing or talking about that at the moment is providing grants that match some expenditure. That is something obviously we'll engage on as we have a little bit more information. As you'd expect, we've been talking to the government already, but we've got to work out exactly how we're going to develop taking it forward. I think the other advantage in this space, both zinc and manganese are 2 of the 4 critical minerals listed in the US. That does allow potentially Hermosa to go into the Fast 41 process, which really is about accelerating your federal permits. No corner cutting, but making sure that you've got the full weight of the federal and the state services behind accelerating the project. And if you think about Hermosa, 2 critical minerals, underground mines, small footprint in Santa Cruz County, which is one of the poorest counties, if you like, in Arizona. It doesn't have any tribal First Nation issues. You can't see it from a highway, not a large amount of ground disturbance. is probably the poster child to go into that kind of program. And that's the stuff we'll continue to work through over the next 3 or 4 months. Again, I think by the time we host a site visit, which is scheduled towards the end of May, there'll be a lot more information on how Clark is progressing.